What's up, poker players? Hope you guys are crushing it out on the tables. Today we're going to get into something that I really enjoy doing in my off-table learning as well as multitasking on table, and that is reading poker books as well as listening to poker audio books while I play. We're going to go over some of the last books that I've read within the probably last 6-7 months. So let's get into it. As you can see, I have a lot of devices here that I use on Amazon to read. They are all pretty much loaded and they take up pretty much all the memory on my iPhone. I run into a lot of issues when I hit that video button and I want to take a video and I have no memory because my Kindle app and my Audible app take up everything. It's a good problem to have though. The first book we're going to get into is by James Split Suit Sweeney. He has a storied career in poker. He's been playing for just about as long as I have. He's probably about my age. He's been coaching for almost 10 years now, and this book is really great, you guys. I've read this one a couple times, and it has had a large impact on my game. This guy really knows how to get into the meta game of poker and get into leveling. If you're going to be playing the smaller stakes, it's important, but not as important to get into that portion of your game. But this is the number one on my list. I've read it, as I said, a couple times. Highly suggest this one. Link is down in the video description. I don't want to give away too much on it, and I want you guys to go through it and learn for yourselves. The next book we're going to take a look at is How to Be a Poker Player by Hasib Qureshi. I hope I didn't slaughter your name, man. And this one really gets into the mental mindset of poker. I remember when I first started reading, actually I got this book on Audible, so I started listening to it. But I remember when I first started listening to it, I was confused at whether this author liked poker or he was against poker at first. But it's one of those books you can really get into, and I thoroughly enjoyed, and I would suggest it for all you guys out there to read or listen to on Audible. According to the author Hasib, he started with $50 in his account and was able to make over $100K in his first year playing online. That's not what got me to read this book, but now that I hear about it, it kind of ties in well with this channel and the challenge that I'm currently doing. I think my technique to finding books on poker is to, do search on Amazon and then buy customer reviews most likely. You can see this one's gotten some really, really rave reviews, and so I'm sure that's how I stumbled upon this book and decided to give it a read. I will put all the links to the books down in the video description. Head down there, you guys, if you want to purchase this book for yourself or check it out on Amazon. Links are down there. So the next couple books we're going to get into are a series called The Mental Game of Poker by Jared Tendler with help by Barry Carter. Jared Tendler is a mental game coach. He has a history of coaching a bunch of players. He's also a licensed mental health counselor, and he can definitely help you out if you get on tilt, if you have fear at the table, if you lack confidence, motivation, and you're questioning decisions that you're making on the table. He really gets inside your head and will improve your game from a mental standpoint beyond belief. So here's the first book in the series, Volume 1. And here's the second book in the series, The Mental Game of Poker 2. In the second book, he gets into a little bit more of playing in the zone and how to stay in the zone, how to increase your endurance on the tables so you can play longer and at a more effective rate longer. If you're a player that tilts or gets thrown off your game by being unlucky, hitting some variance, running into plays that you don't see very often and that confuse you, if anything throws you off your game of poker on the tables, this book as well as Volume 1 are extremely important to you as a poker player. I purchased both of these books on Audible. I think both of them are about 5 hours long, and that's only a few poker sessions, and I can listen to them while I play. I'm sure I'm not absorbing everything as I listen, but I'll go back and listen to these books again in some time and revive all the important lessons that are in these books. The No Limit Holdem Workbook Exploiting Regulars by Tri Nguyen win, and Tom Marchese is what I'm currently reading. I just got into this one. It's more of a workbook type where they'll go over a certain lesson throughout a chapter and then test you on it afterward. I just got into it and looking forward to reading this one, and I'll give a more thorough review about this book as well once I'm through it. But it's got some pretty great reviews here on Amazon, and it looks like it gets into some really great poker concepts on how to play profitably your small pairs, how to put a range on your opponents, and game balancing techniques. So we'll see how this one goes. I will get back to you about this book, but I figured I'd throw this one on the list as well. So I read this book a little while back. It's called Building a Bankroll Full Ring Edition by Paul Nazarowicz. I'm sure I slaughtered that one too. I am very sorry. But in this book, he's going to teach you how to move up the poker ladder, starting from a small bankroll and turning it into 10 grand in 120 days. I probably should have listened and reread this book before I started the challenge, because I'm having a little struggle here. I mean, I'm only about 60 days in, but I'm definitely not getting close to 100 grand yet, or 10 grand yet in 120 days. But if you're a student of the game, I highly suggest this book. It'll teach you how to accept variance, how to adjust your stake levels, and how to stick to your game that you are best at. I think bankroll management is one of the things that most players don't adhere to, and that's why they go broke online and go broke so many times. It's something that I stick to very, very strictly, so this book will definitely help you in that part of the game. Link is down in the video description. The final book we're going to get into is Strategies for Beating Small Stake Poker Tournaments by Jonathan Little. Jonathan Little has a great history of coaching, writing, and he also does quite a bit of videos online. This is another one that I listened to on Audible. It's a short book, but it goes through some good concepts. It's not the best. It's got some great reviews. There's had a lot of reviews on here, so a lot of people have read it, and a lot of people have enjoyed it. I didn't think it got that in depth being so short. It's just over an hour on Audible, but it's not that expensive, and I do think you can learn something from it, so I threw it on the list as well. Most of the other books have to do more with the cash game aspect of the game, while this one focuses more on the tournaments. You know, some of the mental games will adhere to both cash and tournament poker play. Jonathan Little has had a lot of tournament poker success, and so I think he has a lot of tournament poker knowledge that he can share with all of us. He actually won WPT Poker of the Year award one time. So if you're into tournament poker, I think this is a good read to get you going. Again, it's not that extensive, but I think it has some value, and for how inexpensive it is, it will definitely improve your game more than price of the book. I think any book will, for that matter. And so I continually read on the table, off the table, pick up an Audible account. As you can see, the books are cheaper on Audible, and it allows you to multitask. And when you're listening to poker and people talk about poker and poker strategies, I think it makes your game stronger on the table too, because it keeps you in the poker mindset and thinking about poker while you're playing poker. So even though you might not be in a big hand at the time, you still have poker surrounding you, and your mind doesn't escape to other places where it very, very easily could. You know, you could jump on Facebook or, you know, social media because it's right in front of you, or you can look at your phone and start text messaging, and next thing you know, you're in a big hand, you haven't been paying attention, and you have to jump right back into poker, when listening to poker will keep you in that mindset throughout your poker play. If you guys have not hit that subscribe button, make sure you do that. We're going to have tons of great videos, including the 100K challenge updates coming soon. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with anyone who might have interest in any of these poker books as well. Until next time, you guys, you might find me buried in this Exploiting Regulars book or out on the virtual felt of America's Card Room.